Young man, Junior, Ban Yahweh, Ban Yashua. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Magata. Come over here. Say, La Yashua. La Yashua. Go ahead, drink. La Yashua means to Israel. It's like a toast. Stand. Oh, yeah. Yeah, blow the horn. Grab that side, flip it upside down. Watch that wire right there.
All right. With that, everybody imagine, which means to stand. We're going to solve the bottom of our which means to turn and face the east. We're going to read the Lord's Prayer from the God. Abanau.
Abanau.
Shabbat Shabbat.
Shabbat Shabbat.
Kudah.
Kudah.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Shubka.
Shubka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malafika.
Malafika.
Abaa.
Abaa.
Ratzak.
Ratzak.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baratza.
Baratza.
Kuwa.
Kuwa.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Lashma.
Lashma.
Kutanina.
Kutanina.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Ka.
Ka.
Iwam.
Iwam.
Salakna.
Salakna.
Abuwatina.
Abuwatina.
Salakna.
Salakna.
Abuwatina.
Abuwatina.
Wala.
Wala.
Tabi'ayna.
Tabi'ayna.
Nasawan.
Nasawan.
Allah. Aishayna.
Abishayna.
Ayan.
Ayan.
Ra.
Ra.
Ayah.
Ayah.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwa.
Amalakwa.
Wala.
Wala.
Watapara.
Tahara.
Walami.
Lami. What we said was, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh, thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth, as it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
We forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us.
Deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. Is the Hakka in the last one of Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Hashem.
Yahusha.
Yahusha.
Babakasha.
Babusha.
Batalana.
Batalana.
Hakka.
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 La'a'a.
La'a'a.
Kamakala.
Kamakala.
Wakam
Kamarawa.
Hakka.
Hakka.
Matzahar.
Matzahar.
Hamatazawai.
Hamazazarayim.
Hakka.
Hakka.
La'akwi.
Lahakwi.
Amati.
Lamati.
Hakka.
Hakka.
Awokawa.
Alakawa.
Tama'al.
Tama'al.
Gawishan.
Gawishan.
Ba'ashem.
Hashem.
Yahusha.
Yahusha.
Water.
Amen. Power prayer in Hebrew. Lord, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
Power to heal.
Power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of disease.
All manner of disease.
Power to cleanse the leper.
Power to cleanse the lepers.
Power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
Power against unclean spirits.
Power against unclean spirits.
Cast them out.
Cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. Bless Israel in the last one of God. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Hashem.
Yahusha.
Yahusha.
Rock out.
Rakadal.
Wayash. It's like Wayashah.
Wayashah.
Wahabaya.
Wahaya.
Wabiyah. Safari.
Safari.
Rock.
Barak.
Ba'ashem.
Hashem.
Yahusha.
Yahusha.
What?
Tuan. What we said in English was, Lord,
Lord,
in the name of Yahushua,
in the name of Yahushua,
bless us,
bless us,
and Israel,
and Israel,
and the school,
and the school,
in the name of Yahushua.
in the name of Yahushua.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. We have the Psalms 121 in the last one of the batch. Asha,
Asha,
Ayanya,
Ayanya,
Ahahai,
Ahahai,
Mahayan,
Mahayan,
Yaba'a,
Yaba,
Azari,
Isaiah,
Azari,
Isaiah,
Ma'an,
Ma'an,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Shabayam,
Shabaya,
Waratsa,
Maratsa,
How you done?
how you done?
Lama Wat,
Number what?
Regal,
Regal,
How Yanawam,
how you want?
Shamark,
Shamarka,
Anna,
Ana,
La'a,
La'a,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Yayashan,
Yayashan,
Shawamar,
Shalomar,
Yashal,
Yashar,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamark,
Shamarka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Tazak,
Zalka,
How Yar,
Yah,
Yamyamka,
Yamilka,
Yawamam,
Yawamar,
Ashamash,
Hashemash,
Layakaka,
Ayaka,
Wayrak,
Mayara,
Layla,
Alayala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamark,
Yashamarka,
Kalra,
Kalra,
Ashmar,
Yashmar,
Abnapash,
Ahapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashmar,
Yashmar,
Tazak,
Tazaka,
Ubawak,
Bahawaka,
Ayata,
Mayata,
Yai,
Bahai,
Abolum.
Awalum. Psalm 121 in English. I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence comes my help?
My help comes from Yahweh,
My help comes from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee,
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yasharah,
he that keepeth Yahweh
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Upon thy right hand.
Upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
Nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
And thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
This time forth.
From this time forth,
And even forevermore.
and even forevermore. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, Colossians production. Alahai,
Alahai,
Adamayalaka,
Adam Yalaka,
Adakarash,
Karash,
Wa'ata Shakwat,
Ta'ata Shakwat,
How,
How,
Kayahana,
Ayahana,
Awayabika,
Awayabika,
Yahamar Yawan,
Hamadawan,
Wa'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al Anaka,
Alahaka,
Yariyawan,
Yarayama,
Salvadar,
Sada,
Wayata,
Wayata,
Ya'atazawan,
Yaitazawa,
Abzawanyaka,
Atazawanika,
Hamaru,
Maro,
Lakal,
Kao,
Nakatidom,
Manakakadam,
Magali,
Gabi,
Walaya Zakar,
Mahazaka,
Sam Yashal,
Shamyashan,
Iwada,
Awada,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawa'atazawan,
Nawaizawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakabu,
Yakaba,
Auyaka,
Ayaka,
Maya,
Arya,
Yakarafu,
Yakarafu,
Ahali,
Ahali,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashmael,
Wayashmael,
Mawabu,
Awaba,
Wagari,
Wagari,
Yubal,
Nabal,
Amawan,
Amawan,
Wamalak,
Ramla,
Alashat,
Alashat,
Amishabi,
I'm Yashabi,
Tazawu,
Tazawar,
Gamashawar,
Rama Shawar,
Alawa,
Alawa,
Alma,
Aima,
Aywa,
Aywa,
Zarawai,
Sarawai,
Nabani Lawat,
Bandalawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalaham,
Ashalaham,
Kaimaksla, Kamadian,
Amayan,
Kasayasara,
Asayatara,
Kayabya,
Ayabyan,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Koyasman,
Bayas,
Ashmagla,
Ashmala,
Bayandara,
Bayandara,
Aywa,
Aywa,
Duma,
Ma,
Alma,
Alma,
Saitama,
Shaitama,
Nabyamawa,
Nayatawa,
Kaira,
Kara,
Wakazaba,
Wakazaba,
Wakazabak,
Wakazaba,
Wakazabana,
Wakazabana,
Kamasakamo,
Kamasakama,
Ashapa,
Shah,
Kamaru,
Amaru,
Bayrasha,
Nairusha,
Nanawa,
Nanawa,
Ah, Nawa,
Nawa,
Alahai,
Alahan,
Alahaya,
Alaya,
Shaitamo,
Shaitama,
Kagabul,
Gagala,
Kikwash,
Quash,
Kapanya, Wakal,
Apigaba,
Kash,
Ach,
Kabai,
Abaira,
Yai,
Aira,
Wakalaba,
Wakalaba,
Talahat,
Alahat,
Awiyam,
Arayam,
Kantar Dapman,
Tantar Dapman,
Wasair,
Masairika,
Wasawakat,
Ulisawakat,
Halam,
Tamahalam,
Allah,
Mawa,
Panyaham,
Panyam,
Walawan,
Valawan,
Wabapashwa,
Wayabapashwa,
Shimka,
Shuka,
Yahawah,
Yahawah,
Yabash,
Bad,
Wabahaw,
Wayabahaw,
Ayai,
Ayai,
Wakapaw,
Wayaparwa,
Wayabad,
Wayabad,
Wada'iwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayata,
Wayada,
Shimka,
Shuka,
Yahawah,
Yahawah,
Wabad,
Bad,
Ayuwan,
Aliwan,
Alcohol, Wabad,
Baha, Baha. All right, Psalm chapter 83 in English. Keep not thou silence.
Keep not thy silence,
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy
And
peace.
be not still.
Be not still,
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
Lord,
thy enemies make a tumult.
thy enemies make it tumble.
And they that hate thee
They that hate thee
have lifted up their head.
are lifted up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel
Against thy people.
against thy people.
They consulted
They consulted
against thy hidden one.
against thy enemy.
They have said,
They have said,
come,
come,
and let us cut them off
let us cut them off
from being a nation.
from being a nation.
The name of Yahshua,
The name of Yahshua.
they be no more in remembrance.
May we no more remembrance.
They have consulted together.
They have consulted together
One consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee.
are confederate against thee.
Tabernacles of Edom
Tabernacles of Edom
and the Israelites
and the Israelites
of Moab
of Moab
and
and the Hagarites
Gabal
and Ammon
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
the inhabitants of Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur also is joined with them.
Sure also joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They are hoping the children of Lot.
Lot.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as Sarah,
as to Sarah,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
the brook Kassan,
the brook Kassan,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dog for the earth.
Make their nobles
Make them noble
like Oreb,
like Oreb,
and like Zeid.
like Zeid,
Yea,
Yea.
all their princes as the Baal,
all the princes of Sabbath,
and as Dahudah,
and Salmon,
who said,
who said,
let us take to ourselves
let us say to
the
ourselves,
houses of God in possession.
our house of God in possession.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as a stubble before the
as
wind,
the fire burnt they wood,
as the fire burns the wood,
and as the flames set the mountains on fire.
as its flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempests,
with thy temple,
make them afraid
make them afraid
with thy storm,
with thy storm,
fill their faces with shame,
fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea.
let them be put to shame
Let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish.
that then they know
But then they know
that God,
that thou,
His name alone,
them alone,
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high,
art the Most High,
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
Blessings, prayer, and Allah Shabbat Gosh. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh?
Why Yahushua?
Why Yahweh?
Why Yahushua?
Why Allah?
Why Allah?
Hatazak Yahweh.
Sabbath,
Allah Wak Yahweh.
Allah Wapian,
Allah Wapi.
Allah Wapi,
Asawandi.
Pastor One,
Headquarters of Yahweh.
Pastor Zayan,
Mekali Yahweh.
Pastor Nothing,
Waha Wati.
Wapi,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ashur.
Hashem,
Yahushua.
Yahushua,
What?
What? Come on.
Blessed prayer in English. Blessed be Yahweh,
Blessed be Yahweh,
and Yahweh Shai,
and Yahushua,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
commanding General Yohanan,
commanding General,
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 captain,
captain,
the officer,
officer,
the troop,
the troopers,
and the sisters.
assistants,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shai,
in the name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you so be.
Thank you so be it.
All right, with that, Star, we're going to turn to face the front. Go ahead, sir. Yeah, go ahead, get that. All right, Mashadi. Clap it up. Most High Christ, Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah, Yahweh Shemar Adam Hashem Yahushua. We're at Isupk. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, in 1969. We're under commanding General Yohanan. Here to teach the truth of the Bible. So-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians are the real Israelites according to the scriptures. You brought into us today on the Sabbath service, which is where we rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High. We do this every single week, where we go into the Lashawan Kodash when we read the Old Testament. Of course, we started with the first five books of Moses, or like as we just learned a vocabulary word, Thawa Ra, right? Which is the law, which is the first five books. Technically, the whole Bible is the law, but you get what I'm saying. We're getting into Exodus now, y'all. So we have been dealing with Genesis for at least 3 years. We've been doing the Sabbath services, and now we get into becoming a nation, and of course the oppression that came with us being in the land of Egypt. Now, when we read chapter 1 last class, and in that class, we seen that Israel had been treated differently once a new generations of pharaohs came and gone, right? Obviously, because they don't live forever. So generations pass and go, and before you know it, a few generations in, where Israel had settled in the land of Goshen, which was not exactly part of Egypt, but close to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how it was situated for us to be in our own land. We want to do things our own way, have our own crops and farms and things like that. And that was predominantly what Israel is. Remember, if you was reading in Genesis towards the end, it was set up so that Israel could sort of be like the agricultural wing of the empire of Egypt at that time, right? So we settled in a land named Goshen. And in that land, Israel had started to deal with their neighbors, the Egyptians, who then began to change their perspective about Israel. And of course, over time, the pharaohs that had been in good terms with Joseph, that we knew of from the book of Genesis, then started to look towards the Israelites as a threat because of our ability to grow in numbers and, of course, the mightiness of our people. As you know, today, it ain't no different than what's going on right now because of all the paranoia that comes from Blacks and Hispanics growing in a large amount. Yeah, this is for you to refer to when you're reading. So, what we're doing is we're going to go into Exodus chapter 2, starting at verse 1. And what you want to do is you want to get the Bible Hub app. I see you already got it out. Christ, and you got the interlinear version out. Now you're going to see the characters line up, right? They line right up. So if you ever have any question about how to pronounce them, you have them right here. Copyright is going to help you on the pronunciations on them throughout, obviously, so you're not going to be struggling through the whole thing. But you'll notice that it looks this way on the iPhone. It looks a little bit more like this on the Android phone. But that's why we got both of them there, so you can see how it looks. All right, go ahead and take it away. Copyright, make sure to be where he's at. Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. Yeah, that's right. Second. See. That's the first one. Ayah and Shah. Ayash. Yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, once you have the pronunciation, go ahead and speak with the confidence. You want to make sure the mic here, is picking you up. So you want to sit up straight, and you want to make sure that that once you know how to pronounce it, once copyright helps you out with it, go ahead and say it. You know what I'm saying, with the power of Tribe Judah has. You know what I'm saying. This is, of course, a learning process for everybody that comes to the school. There's no shame in that. It ain't no different than a child learning how to battle words together, right? You know, the scripture says, as newborn babes desire the sincere word, milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. And having to learn the Bible in a whole new language once you're even, in your teenage years, 20s, 30s, it's going to be like newborn, like as if you're a newborn babe all over again, right? And the way that you pronounce it. So take no shame in that. Just kind of roll with it and just start picking up on it sooner than you expect.
What was that?
Oh, yeah. Wait, bro.
Why cut? Why what? Us.
This one, this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what? Verse 2.
Shah.
Aisha,
What's the law?
Watala,
One.
Ban, Watawu,
Foul.
Da, Kaya, Tara,
Allah.
Awa,
What's that?
Waka,
What's that?
Awata,
Tazu. Wow.
Wata,
Tazwan.
Wata, Tasaman,
Allah.
Tawa, Wata, Tasaman, Tawa,
Allah.
Tawa,
Allah. Shalash.
Shalash,
Yawakai.
1, verse 3,
Walaha.
Wala, Wakala,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
oh, Wakala, yeah,
Oh, no, the first one you saw, the first one?
second,
Yak.
oh, Yakala,
And what?
Aiba,
That's a Payama.
1, I,
That's a Payama. That's a Payama. That's a Payama.
Classic, so, Lawa,
Sabbath,
Sabbath,
Gama,
Kabak, Otamara,
Masa,
Owata, Rat,
Bakma,
Pokemon,
Mabazpa,
Bath,
Watasham,
Watasham, Bath,
no, Baha,
Baha, Lata, Ayala, Watasham, Basawa, Al,
Shapa,
Shapa,
Hayar, Hayar,
Ayala, Ayala,
Hayar,
Ayah. Verse 4. Verse 5.
Oh, it does a little like reloading and then they'll go in different spots. What's up with suck? What's the what? How? What's the what?
Those characters are pretty long, huh?
What's up? How?
Where you have the connector pieces to like show me where to split it at?
If you ever have a question about what the root word is, hit the identification number right above.
Are you talking about the blue one?
The little one up top. See that?
The number?
Yeah. And that shows you the root word. So like y'all are in verse 6, right? Which word are you looking at? The child?
No, then she saw.
Oh,
So-
ra'ah.
So this is the root word, ra'ah.
Yeah, so the
it's-
root word is ra'ah.
Watha, ra'ah,
Ra'ah.
that's how you say it.
Yeah, so that's why whenever you know how when we're doing the Hebrew class, I say this is H157H. There's actually supposed to be an H in front of those numbers because it's Hebrew word number 7200, Hebrew word number 853, and that tells you the root word. All the other characters around it are either prepositions, possessive adjectives, or connectors that make it part of a sentence, which, of course, that understanding comes from time. So think about the root word, and then once you know what the root word is, all the other ones around it, you know that those are pronounced like as support words for the main. So that is wata ra'au. See what I'm saying? Keep going. Now here's another example. The next phrase is hayalad, right? So when you hit 3206, yalad is the word for son or child, right? So what is ha? The. Just like how we use it in class. Does that make sense? So you're piecing together where if you ever have a question on how to pronounce it and which ones are connectors and which ones aren't, use the root word. Then you can go back and then you can say the root word with all the support characters around it. Then you get your phrase. See what I'm saying? Sometimes there will be a root word, but then the phrase itself will kind of take some of those characters apart and throw some characters in, and those are other laws that come into play when you're dealing with sentence structure. Or just keep that in mind. Just keep an eye on what the root word is, and that helps you. Haya.
This one.
The root word is hana, and wa means and. So wa hana. You see that? Go ahead.
The war,
Yo, I.
The cup. What? It's the command. Leo.
We just use this word, we're just using a different version. By your like. You know, the base word is yalad, which means child, right? So my yalad, that's how you know which one's there you go. Mm-hmm.
Huh? Under
Why?
Verse 7. What the mark?
So
With the 1,000. Sir.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay.
Aisha. What? Was. But I will. Loves. With the cup out of white love, white orders. What love? Oh, why I
Right, let's go to the English now. Get that into English. What did we just read?
Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
Now, what is this talking about? The world will try to say, well, of course, other nations, they'll read this too literal. We understand that a house of somebody is talking about their lineage, right? Now, we see that Levi had children, right? And his children had children. And so what this is saying is that there was a man from Levi's sons who went and made wife with one of the daughters of one of Levi's other sons. We're not talking about incest here. Okay? It's something that, of course, Israel's never been really dealing with that. One thing that is actually a cultural thing that was reasonable for at that time, especially during Israel's first steps into building the nation, was that you may have had a cousin that was with another cousin. You know what I'm saying? So it's saying a lot without saying much. It's saying a man out of the house of Levi. It's not saying one of Levi's sons literally took to a daughter one of Levi's daughters. This is talking about down the line, because we're talking about in Exodus at the end of the first chapter how generations had passed, right? The generations had passed for different pharaohs to come into place that started to look at Israel differently. Then Israel itself had generations that came to be offspring, which we're talking about decades of past, basically, right? So, read that again.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. And there was a man of the house of Levi and took to wives a daughter of Levi.
Right, meaning of the same tribe. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 2. And the woman
Let
conceived.
me make this a little bit more clear. When we say the registry, you say like young man, junior, Banya Hawada, Banya Shah. Sisters don't normally have to say a registry, but if they were to say their registry, it would be this sister, Ban, or they would not Ban, it would be a daughter of. So I believe the word is Ba or Bayat, something like that. It was the term for daughter. So they would say daughter of this tribe. So this is what did happen here, is that this was a daughter of the same tribe. That's all I was trying to clarify. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
Why did she hide him? Go ahead.
No, it's right. So, I thought it said heart.
Okay, again, knowing what happened in the first chapter, why did she hide it? Right? Come here.
Because at this time, they was killing our firstborn boys.
They were trying to kill the firstborn boys. So this was an act of defiance that she did because she wanted that baby to live. Right? She was a girly child. She hid him for 3 months, tried to hold on to him and swaddle him and keep him hushed. You know, and that's hard to do with a baby because babies are loud. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get away with the baby, nobody knows where you have a baby. It's hard enough to try to hide a puppy or a cat. When you was young, did you ever try to hide a cat that you brought home? You know what I'm saying? Then you hear some meowing coming from the room. Cats come in there. What's up with this meowing? Cat. Why y'all got this cat? Well, Pharaoh had ordered for baby boys to get killed. Now, of course, the easy part here is that they were still allowing daughters to be born, right? So there were babies crying in the area. So a baby crying wasn't going to draw too much attention. But them seeing the baby and saying, wait, that ain't no baby girl. That's a boy. That would have been, you should have been in trouble. So she hid the baby. You understand? This is righteous for her to have done because children should get a chance to live, right? This isn't like, oh, she had the perfect excuse to get that child out of there. And then before you know it, she aborted the baby or letting the baby go. That ain't like women today. This is a woman that was different. She wanted that baby to live against all odds. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And when she could not longer hide him, she took him from the ark of.
She took for him.
Oh, she took for him an ark of
bulrushes, yeah.
Bulrushes, and dabbed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein.
So the way you do this is basically you got a bunch of material, bulrushes, twigs and leaves and things that are matted together in a way that creates kind of like a bowl, right? In order to make that bowl to where water can't pass through and sink the bowl, you got to mat it with some type of clay material. So that's why I say it's slime, because you got to deal with dirt, mud, and you got to do something to it. You got to mix it with some other things to make it thick, to make a paste out of it. And then once it's more of a pasty material, kind of like how mud is, right? Because mud is just dirt and water and just all kinds of stuff. Then you can actually make a shape out of it, kind of like how potters sculpt a vase or something like that, right? So having that same mindset, she went and probably warmed up the material somehow, filled in the gaps in that straw. She made a little mini boat. That's what she made to try to put the baby in, right?
And she laid it in the flags by the river brink.
Flags by the river brink. What river are we talking about? It's the longest river on earth. I think there may be a tie between the Amazon and this one. Which one is this? Go ahead. The Nile. It's the Nile. The Nile River is so long that in 2013 there was a news reporter, a journalist, who walked the Nile River. It took him 9 months to walk that river. So we're talking about a big, long river, right? So what she do with it? What she do with the baby? She put it where? We're reading the scripture again.
And she laid it in the flags by the river bank.
Now, mind you, this is in Goshen. The river flows through all these different areas, right? And so Goshen is one of those areas, and they put the baby in there. And so this baby was on what you would call today a water ride, or what they say kayaking, or what's the word for it? There's a term for it. People do this for sport now. This baby was put in a river that was flowing. Water rafting, something like that, right? People do nowadays, they go to Slitterbond, they get on a water ride, you know what I'm saying? They can go float through the whole thing because it's all man-made to flow a certain way. But on the river, it's wild, it's crazy. There's rocks, there's waves, there's inconsistencies in it. It's very dangerous land. But she made this little thing to be able to hold this baby. And this is a story that's being written. It's an epic story of how a child was basically saved from being killed. And she just kind of put it in trust in the Lord and just put the baby in there and see what, hopefully the baby will get out of the trouble. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, go ahead.
verse 4. And his sisters stood afar off to with what would be done for him.
To know what will be done, meaning she's out there, look, she's peeping, because you're not just gonna leave it and walk off and not care about what happened. You're looking from ways off to see what's going on with the baby, right? And did it move? Did it flow? It doesn't necessarily say, right? But a river is a river. We know what rivers do; they flow. So you can bet that that thing most likely moved. She was trying to keep an eye on it from far off. Keep going.
Verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came. The daughter of Pharaoh.
The daughter of Pharaoh. And it doesn't say a daughter, it says the daughter of Pharaoh. We could be very well talking about somebody that was literally the daughter of the Pharaoh of that time. There's probably evidence that that is the case later on. Keep going.
And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river.
Right. This is how it plays out. So you got one woman put the baby in the river, baby starts flowing. Then further down the river, you got the woman that came to wash herself, right? Because that's what they did. They washed themselves. Yeah, there it is. National Geographic. This is Nile River. You know what's crazy is that nowadays people go out there and kayak for fun. You can go out there as a tourist and you can kayak and do all the river flowing and all that just for fun. When you go here in Texas, we have a place called the Comal River, right? People go out there, they bring beers out. They bring floaties out, the big old donut, the big old black ones, the donuts that they float on out there on the river. They'll go out there and they'll float to have fun and get drunk. This baby was out here flowing on the river to avoid death. That's a heck of a way to start your life, right? Anyway, go ahead.
You talking about the and everything?
I mean, it ain't no telling what you're talking about a river. There's all types of ecological systems going on. You got bugs everywhere. You got, fish. I believe the Nile River, I don't know I'm pretty sure it was freshwater because they actually used it for, their civilization. So it wasn't just like trash water, So there was resources in this river. This was, aside from the river, the more important thing is the child itself. That somehow made his way over to where it just so happened that the daughter of Pharaoh was out there trying to clean up. Go ahead.
The daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river side.
And so she definitely was somebody that was of status in Egypt because she had maidens that were assigned to basically hold shamar for her, or at least keep some kind of watch for God. Go ahead.
And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
The rush, the reeds, the water plants, right? So they made the baby may have been flowing and got caught on some brush in the water to interrupt it from flowing further down the river. Because if it was moving, it'd been hard for the women to catch up and get it. But she done noticed this ark. And so she sent her maids to get it. It's like, that don't look like something that naturally occurs in the water. This thing is floating. This thing has been made and created and manufactured, sculpted together. So she saw something important just from the look of it. She didn't even hear the crying of the baby yet. She didn't know there was a baby in it. She just so happened to see and then be like, go get that thing floating in the water. Like you have a coincidence of a coincidence of a coincidence, right? This is how you know the Most High, the way he writes this story so intricately, because a specific thing has to happen so that another specific thing can happen so that another specific thing can happen. You know what I mean? That's what's going on. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and she behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on it. And she said, and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children.
When you look at the word Hebrew, it says one from beyond. She recognized this ain't one of our Egyptian babies. This is one of the Hebrew babies. He looked like one of the strong bulls from across the river, further down the stream. This baby was immediately recognizable as not an Egyptian baby. You see what I'm saying? And she also most likely assumed that because it was a boy. and not a girl. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can tell just from the way they cry. Boy babies and girl babies, they don't necessarily cry the exact same. You know what I mean? And so she recognizes it was a Hebrew baby. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Then said his sisters to Pharaoh, his daughter, shall I go and call to thee, and shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?
Exactly. So she's saying that should I go and return it back to where it came from? Okay. Let's go ahead and check. Imagine.
Tasia Bans, Balawan Banya Shah,
Avsutazia Bans Balawan Banya Shah.
Yaba Shimya Shabrakatam,
Yahweh Shimon Shabrakata.
I don't know. We don't do it.
Time for the second one?
It's a very-
Oh, yeah. Mashabi. Go ahead and read the next 7 verses. Then we'll break it down in English.
it's the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 7, verse 8. Watermore, Achab, Thought, Kariah, Lakah, Lakaya, Walah, I, Lamak, Watakwa, Watakara, Lata, I'm, Khayalat, verse 9. Watermore, Achab,
I'm sorry. So what's up?
what the Imam, Achab, Bat, Haram, Halakaya, Lata, Khaylat, Hasakhat, Haya, Arwa, Maya, Manaya, Wa,
What do you say? What? You mean what?
Manaya, Wa,
That's fine.
Tan, Ata, Sakarat, Sakarata, Sakarat, Sakarat, Takla, Fasika, Khayalat, Mutana, Mutal, Naai, Wahwa. Verse 10.
Wajugal,
Wajugal,
Wayai Gadal, Hayalat, Ba, Wa,
Masamba, Sakusa, Ma'akau,
Ta, Hawa, Ba, Alright, Raya, Wayahaya,
Raya, Raya,
Wayahaya, Maha, Van, Takra, Sumwa, Masaha, Marma, Aya, Mawan, Sumayun, Masai, Sahawa, 11, Wayahai, Wayamanyan, Kakam, Wayam, Wayagada, Wayagada, Mashaka, Yataza, Al, Haywan, no, Aki, Kiel, Wajamar,
Wayuga,
Wayara, Subat, Ton, Wayar, Wayara, Mesha, Yes, Israel, Makath, Yash, Ibrahim, Ma, Kinau, verse 12, Wayapanwa, Ha, Wayapan, Kahan, Wakha, Wayar, Kaya, Ayo, Ayo, no,
Ayom,
yeah, says no,
Because Ayom.
here,
Here, no, Ayom.
Ayan,
Which usually no is not. This is like a different no.
Yeah.
Ayom.
Ayan, Ayash, Aya, Tab, Tazara, Wayatam, Nahwa, Bahwa, Bahwa. Verse 13. ويتسعى ويعم الشناي وخلقها شمية النشيون إبراهيم نتزايم Wagamar, Rashai, Maha, Aka, Reich, verse 14. Wayamor, Maya, Shamka, Elisha, Shra, Washapat, Aliyamnawa, Hara, Hara, Anya, Aka, Amara, Kishar, Karabata, the Hamtazrai, Yayra, Mashaha, Fayamor, Kama, Namrai, Hadbar.
Where you at? You killed him?
It's known.
Yeah. That's the end of the verse.
Okay.
Let's go ahead, bro. English.
Verse 8, right? Book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 8. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. Verse 9. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman looked and the woman took the child and nursed it. Verse 10. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
Basically, this child was raised by Egyptians, right? A whole different society altogether, different from Israel, different vibe to it, different spirit, you know what I mean? Whole different environment. But the thing is, of course, this being his parents' daughter, growing in a situation that may have been so bad, right? 'Cause obviously, they're in a higher status in society than all the others, below them in the I guess, pyramid scheme, so to speak, of Egypt. But you read verse 9. You read through, all the way to verse 9.
No. And
Go to verse 10.
verse 10. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son.
Hold on now. So this is the thing too. So who is this baby we've been reading about? Go ahead.
And she called his name Moses.
Moses. Why is that? Why she call him Moses? Go ahead.
And she said, Because I drew him out of the water.
That's literally what his name means. Mashah means drawn. Comes from the word mashah, which means to draw, and it says quite literally to pull out or to rescue, which is very interesting that is the name given to Moses, given that he was the leader of It would soon be all of Israel being pulled out and rescued from Egypt altogether. Right? So it's a fitting name, and it's ironic. I say not so ironic, more poetic, where Most High had it to where this baby being drawn from the river was like a what do you call it? A foreshadow of how Israel would be saved using a very similar by crossing over water. You know what I mean? And being rescued from a different situation. So it's his name. Moses' name literally means drawn out. Okay, that's what Mashah actually means. So that's his name. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren.
Okay, so here's the thing. So he being somebody that was raised amongst other people, he came and looked to what the situation was for his people. You know what I mean? And you would say that he would be somebody of status in that society, almost like a celebrity today. But the problem is, a lot of celebrities of our people nowadays, they don't go look into the burdens of their people in the ghettos and violence. Right? They may make mention of it. They may have actually come from the ghetto. But the moment that they become wealthy enough to get out of there, they leave it and they don't go back and put back into their communities. You know what I'm saying? Moses was not like that. Moses was one west. Read what Moses had going on when he saw it.
Okay. And looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren.
Dang, so there was a hard labor that was going on. You know what I mean? We do hard labor in our slavery these days. You know what I'm saying? To the point where our backs is sore at the end of the day, our bones is burnt with heat. You know what I mean? Our skin is darker than it already is. You know what I mean? Ain't no dang Edomites that were in Egypt. Are you kidding me? They try to say they was the ones in Egypt. They couldn't even be out in the sun without getting their skin boiling to the point where it was be bleeding, pussing, just doing all sorts of gross things. Our people, we was out there in the heat. You take even an Isupk, you put them in the sun for a week, in and out the shade, you get dark. You know what I'm saying? We can't wait for this time of the year where we can at least get a little shade, a little bit of sunlight. They was out there in the heat doing hard labor. And then this Egyptian, who most, of our people that were raised in a higher part of society, they would see that Egyptian as their own brother. But Moses was not like that. He just saw an Israelite, somebody that was like himself. And he didn't turn his eye away from what was going on. He couldn't just sit idly by and not do nothing about what was happening. It was an injustice that was happening. It just wasn't right. See, the thing is, we got to start looking at what is just not right. We're so used to what is to the point where it's the norm. We're okay with it. That's why our people, it takes 500 police brutality examples for us to finally have some courage to say something about it. The marching ain't going to help them, but you see our people trying to do something after seeing so much injustice. Moses only needed to see one example. He was already about that action. He was already getting active off of just one injustice. But we see our people getting brutalized and, wrongfully imprisoned, falsely accused, over judged in the court systems, and you don't have no gall to do anything except just keep scrolling. Brothers and Isupk and the Command General Yohana, we did more than just scroll. We clicked and we looked for a number and we called the number. We found the address to a location where we go to get active. We went in and we started finding out how can we help our people. Because we had that same mindset Moses had. But of course, it being a different time back then, he took things a little bit further than what we are allowed to do here. Go ahead. Good.
Verse 12. And he looked this way and that way.
He did what?
He looked this way and that way.
He said, What? He made sure the coast was clear, right? That's the term right there.
Right.
Literally the coast, right? We're talking about the Nile, of course, Mediterranean. He's double checking. He's like, shit. And then what did he do? Go ahead.
Come. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him.
He didn't waste no time. It says slew, meaning to strike or to smite or to slay. One touch, man. He one touched that dude. Ended him. Boom. That's a brother right there, boy. Give Moses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shoot. I ain't telling you to go and smite somebody that's brutalizing your brother. That's not what we're saying. But you know how you could subvert getting put into prison for the rest of your life? You come out here and you show them that they're the true Israelites. Because back then, them Israelites, they knew who they were. But your brother out there doing drugs, your brother out there in the Christian churches, your brother out there whose main focus is just work and his family, but there's something that's missing from their life. It's their identity. You giving them their identity is more revolutionary than you picking up arms and trying to draw blood. Moses took things into his own hands this day. And it is still something that is written about for our learning. It's written there to show that what he had zeal for his people. If there's something that you ought to take from it, it's not for you to get violence, it's for you to have this zeal for your people. Because he was drawn out of the water, he wanted to draw somebody out of a bad situation too. It was in his spirit to do that. It is his name to do that. He lived up to his name already. Go ahead.
Come. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
You know what I'm saying? Put right in the sand. Buried the evidence. Kaput. What's the word? Bada boom. You're talking about some mob type stuff. He made sure the coast was clear. He handled business and he hid the evidence. And you know, business as usual. But it was just a small gesture that showed that what he wasn't putting up with his people being treated so brutally. So he had that fire. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I imagine like at this point, because it says by the time when he did it, he was a grown man. So I imagine like then he already been knowing that he was one of them, which was his brother.
Yeah.
As a child, as a teenager. That all was building up somehow. It had to be.
Yeah, he must have felt different amongst the Egyptians.
And
Let alone they probably let him know too.
I was about to ask you this. Just watching. Like, did he know? Like, did he know that because there were similarities, or because maybe his mother told him?
The scripture says, "Try the spirit." So sometimes there's things that the scripture doesn't say super directly. When you read that next verse. You tell me after you read that verse what you think you knew.
Come. Verse 13. And when he went out of the second day, so
he went on a recon mission. First day he goes out, he didn't like what he saw. He ended up killing an Egyptian that was treating one of his brothers wrong. Second day he went out for reconnaissance, see what was going on amongst the Hebrews. And what did he see?
Verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together.
What does that mean, strove?
They was moving together.
They was throwing chingazos, as you say, right? Okay. They were striving, they were struggling against one another. That's why he's about to ask them. Okay. He said they strove, meaning they're literally throwing hands, they're brawling. That's something that is that any different than today? You grow up in the hood, you go outside long enough, you go end up boxing somebody in your neighborhood. Right. Even if it's just for fun. I couldn't even go to, when I was in middle school, I couldn't even go to the basketball court and play basketball after lunch without getting tested. And you know what I'm saying? It was 10 seconds. It was always 10 seconds, right?
or some little group of brothers. It was always brothers. They would send one of their goons at you just to test your mettle. You know what I mean? And, you would step in and it'd be like some Dragon Ball Z type stuff. We all throwing hands at each other, infinite. Neither one backing down. Just, you know how Israel is. You see this in the boxing ring. It's the same damn thing. It's like Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo, except Mayweather. Just imagine like a club, like a really good first round with brothers trying to knock each other out in the first round. On some Mike Tyson. No, I was gonna say, yeah, Tommy Hurt. Well, no. Ali versus Frazier types. You know what I mean? It was just on site. Brothers is like that nowadays. You're more quick to. You won't even chunk up the deuce to a brother. You mean mugging your brothers. We don't do that. We save our mean mugs for the others. Right. I'd rather keep that energy for them. When you see a brother come through, you either go like this, or you go like this, or you go like this. You know what I mean? Don't be like these brothers right here fighting, probably over nothing. Maybe a woman, maybe a piece of bread, maybe some alcohol. Maybe they got alcohol in it. I mean, the scripture here is giving you a scenario. It doesn't tell you about how it led to the scenario. It doesn't think, what happened, why are arguing? It's just talking about what was going on. Because that's what matters. Go ahead.
And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow?
What was wrong? It was smiting his brother. That's how you know they was fighting. Perhaps maybe one of them was winning the fight. He was smiting his brother. He was probably, but if you ever win a fight and you getting free licks on somebody because they downtrodden, got a pin or whatever it is, right? They have the advantage, and then it gets to the point where it's like you kind of overdoing it. You made your point, right? You got to keep doing it. Moses is checking him because he's like, "What's going on here?" Go ahead.
Verse 14, and he said, "Who made thee a prince and judge over us?
Mm-hmm.
Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killest the Egyptians?"
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. So you asked me, did Moses know if he was an Israelite or not? Right? Mm-hmm. And so these two brothers are fighting. Moses comes to interrupt it, and then he's like, "Why are you fighting your brother?" And he's like, "What? You about to kill me like you did old folk you did the other day?" And Moses is like, I done got it. I'm about to get snitched on. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
And Moses feared and said, "Surely this thing is known."
How is this known? Come on. Go ahead.
Because everybody talked about it.
Man, ain't nothing travel faster than word of mouth, bro. That brother that got his life, whose life was saved by Moses. Do you think that brother that Moses saved was not going to tell nobody?
Right.
Now, obviously, he doesn't want his brother to get in trouble, but think about it like this. It's like a hero moment for him. It was like on some Batman type mess, you know what I'm saying? On some, what's the word? Vigilante situation, you know what I mean? Go ahead, copy up.
I said, I probably went down. He went home and was telling the family. His mom was like, "Let me tell the sisters."
The guy most likely had damage on him because he was being smitten by the Egyptian. Somebody asked him, "What happened to you?" Or if it was a mama, she gonna be like, "What's going on with my baby? Why you got all these bruises? What happened?" "Oh, you don't believe what happened. This Egyptian man, he was whooping me, and then out of nowhere, one of these cats, he might look like one of us. Yeah, I ain't trying to work. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you so you understand how the word gets around, right? And then mom, she will tell everybody, auntie and all that. And before you know it, everybody in that town talking about it. But at the same time, it's like, y'all need to keep this between us. Just our people. Moses was worried that he was about to get found out. We're going to find out if he gets caught in the next episode. We're going to leave you on that cliffhanger.
Man, bro, that's
Yeah, we are good. I think that's a good way to build it up because Moses, I mean, we went from verse
1 to verse 7, this baby was born. He went on a water ride. He got saved. Now he's whooping people's butt already. Like, he already killed somebody in 14 verses from him being born. That is a man of the Lord's heart. And if you don't believe that God is a man of war, I don't know what to tell you. Because in 14 verses, Moses was born and already murdered somebody. I'm not telling you that you need to go and murder people. I'm telling you that you got to have zeal for your people, because that's what Moses was showing. Because right away he went up to them two brothers fighting. He said, "Why you treat your brother like this?" That's what he said. Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? The word fellow means rayai, which means friend, companion, you know what I'm saying, or fellow citizen. He basically was saying, how can you hurt your brother like that? That's the kind of brotherhood that Moses had. He understood it. He just had it in him. He was ready for whatever. You're going to find out more on the next class. All right, Dad, go ahead and mark where we at. Imagine.
I'm going to start. Homework with don't, we turn to face east. We read the Lord's Prayer and walk strong with us. Abunau.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Hayat.
Hayat.
Shukah.
Shukah. Yahweh.
Malakika.
Malakika.
Abaa.
Abaa.
Zak.
Zak.
Hayat.
Hayat.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Maras.
Baratza.
Wa.
Kowat.
Hayat.
Hayat.
Shema.
Hashema.
Batanana.
Batalna.
Come on.
Batul.
Come on.
Yawam.
Slak.
Faslakna.
Kowat.
Kowatna.
Slakna.
Faslakna.
Kowat.
Kowatna.
Wala.
Wala.
We are.
Ayana.
Sawan.
Asawan.
Ball.
Abal.
Aisha.
Naushina.
Hayat.
Ayan.
Ma.
Right.
Hayat.
Ayat.
Laka.
Makar.
Malakwa.
Amalakwa.
Allah.
Wala.
Allah.
Bataharat. I love you. Let's pray in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh, thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
Daily bread.
Forgive us our debts.
Give us our debts.
We forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
Lead us not
into temptation,
temptation.
but deliver us from evil.
Believe.
Thine is the kingdom,
Thine is the kingdom.
and the power, and the glory,
Lord.
forever.
Forever.
So be it. So be it. Yes, sir. Now at the time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get salute the scrolls. So go ahead and go on that side and copy our turn camera. You go line up the order. So you go after. Let's do it. Yahweh Bashem Yahshua Barakia.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakia.
Well, all right. At this time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the brothers one courtesy salute. Sisters, you may have a seat. Individual, Amadi Shabbat, Amadi, Barak, Yagi Mata. Sorry, we're gonna turn face to sisters. If you want courtesy salute, sisters, you may stand. Individual, Amadi Shabbat, Amadi, Barak, Yahweh Shabbat, Yagi Mata. Dismissed.